Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Move Daily Talks. I'm your host, Tracy Steen, and today I'm welcomed by our Move Daily nutrition coach again, Kim Hogarth, and we are answering your questions. I know you have questions. We've asked over in our Move Daily Hustle, that's our public Facebook group. And by the way, please feel free to join that. It's for everyone, men and women alike. We asked, what are some pressing questions that you might have in your fitness, wellness, or nutrition? And we got a lot of great feedback, didn't we, Kim?
Plenty of questions and some really interesting ones this time as well. All sorts today.
Yeah, perfect. So we're going to be answering those for you. So remember, join that group. Kim will put that out periodically if you have questions, and we'll be doing a regular Q&A over here in Move Daily Talks just to make sure that you are set, prepared, you have knowledge on your journey toward better health. All right, let's jump into it.
Fantastic. Okay, so our first question. Can you suggest some healthy breakfast options? I'm so tired of eggs for protein and yogurt. I hear you, is all I can say.
Well, those are my favorite things that I
hmm
always eat. So yeah, let's think about some other options. Definitely, and I want you to chime in here too because you follow a more vegetarian diet and I am an omnivore. So, it depends on what type of eating you prefer for yourself. One of the things I think that we need to remember is that breakfast foods don't necessarily have to look like traditional breakfast foods, right? What you're thinking about and what we prioritize over here at Move Daily Fitness, of course, is prioritizing protein and fiber, right? Complex carbohydrates, healthy fats. So we want to look at something that has whole foods and that contains those components. So if it is dinner from last night that you want to reheat for breakfast, I think that's fabulous, right? I think that's such a great idea. And in fact, something that I've been doing a lot lately, I know you said no eggs there, but I'll do eggs maybe on sourdough toast, but then I'll put a lot of arugula that I maybe have dressed in a little bit of healthy olive oil and lemon juice right on top of that. So I'm getting my fiber, right? Getting some greens, so increasing those micronutrients, and then, of course, protein. But so that's an option. Right now, what I'm loving, and it's sort of this viral TikTok recipe, but it's the pumpkin cheesecake. So you think, okay, cheesecake for breakfast, but really what it is you're doing 3/4 a cup of cottage cheese, which is going to give you over 20 grams of protein or 18 to 20, one egg, and then 3 tablespoons of pumpkin puree. So a good, again, complex carbohydrate. Blend that up and then you bake it and it's this cheesy souffle texture. It's so yummy. I put a dollop of Greek yogurt and maybe a sprinkling of walnuts on top. Oh, loving that so much. Well, what are you doing for breakfast, Kim?
Yeah, so I as you say, I'm a vegan stroke vegetarian. I tend to vary between the two of those. And I also find it very challenging with breakfast and protein. I do eat eggs, I have to say. That's on the vegetarian side of things. But what I try to do with my breakfast is I try to get lots of different foods in small amounts because I find it really kind of changes up the taste of things. So you get a great combination. It's easy to kind of vary it. I know this lady here said that she's quite tired of eggs and for protein and yogurt, but what about if you mixed a protein powder in with your yogurt, for example, that had a flavor to it? That's a great way to jazz it up, to change it. Maybe put in, as you said, some nuts and seeds. She could perhaps, you can do baked eggs. I know you have a baked egg cup. That's a great recipe to do. But I think definitely putting in lots of different things that have protein in and good fats and healthy carbohydrates is a really nice way to make it. At the moment, I make a really nice, it's like a bread, but it's made of with pumpkin, oddly enough. But that's got it's got flaxseed in it. It does have eggs in it, but you don't taste the eggs, so it's just part of the protein. And it's got pumpkin puree in it. It's absolutely lovely, and I slice it up. Does me the whole week, and then I will have that with some Greek yogurt or some chia pudding. Is another great way to add fiber and protein in. I put a bit of vanilla protein powder in my chia pudding to give it a different flavor, and blueberries and things. And then I put a little bit of all that together. So there's so much flavor in there. It feels really different. And maybe one day I'll have kiwi on top. Maybe one day I'll have extra strawberries or raspberries for fiber. And I think if you have a bit of a pick and mix for breakfast, it can really kind of liven it up a bit. And it's not boring then, but you're still getting great ingredients.
The pick and mix.
Yeah, breakfast
I
pick and
like the pick
mix.
and mix. Yeah, I'm thinking back to our podcast that I did with Catherine Rabis at
Hmm.
CAF, and she talked about having 30 plants a week and the importance of increasing those that diversity so that you can improve your gut microbiome. And Kim just mentioned so many great ideas, and that pick and mix allows you to get that diversity in. Also, yes, protein pancakes. I'm thinking anything with cottage cheese is going to add additional protein. You can put your whey protein mix into your oatmeal to make protes. So there's lots of options, and I think we gave you a lot there to choose from. So yeah, what's next for us,
Yeah.
Kim?
Fantastic. Next question. Now, this one made me smile, I have to say. Does Tracy do more than one workout a day? And do you take rest days? With all the workouts and walking you do, how could you avoid overtraining? Which I think is a great question because you do release so many workouts for free every single week on the Hustle Facebook group. We publicize that on a Sunday morning. So yeah, I think it's a great question because you obviously train a lot. So how do you avoid overtraining and do you also champion rest days in your own life?
I definitely do not do more than one workout a day. I can't. I couldn't. I could not rally for that. Some of the workouts that I do, I find are so intense. I'm like, nope, that is it. I'm done. I'm cooked. I do like to walk every day, so I definitely do that, but I find that restorative, right? Sometimes the walk will be a hike, so it'll be a little bit more cardiovascular. Sometimes it'll be just flat, so it's less that. But I certainly just do one workout a day for myself. Yes, we release 5 workouts per week. So that's 5 days a week of training. I'll often do film some beginner workouts throughout that as well. For me, the beginner workouts feel like restorative workouts, right? They're not strenuous. I because I've been training for so long, I don't really get my heart rate up too much, but it's still a great way to move. And of course, we always encourage people if they want to do beginner workouts, but they want to kick it up, then they can just lift heavier or change that low impact to high impact. So there's lots of ways to vary those. But rest days, I probably take at least one from any sort of specific training, but I walk every single day. I love it because I want to get sunlight in my eyes in the morning. I need to get outside. I love the fresh air. I love the 2 for 1, meaning if I'm outside with a friend, then I'm having a visit for that social connection along with, the restorative walk. So that's where I'm at. Kim, what do you do?
Yeah, so I probably do overtrain slightly, and Tracy, I have a history of that, and at some point maybe it might be a good topic to talk about because it's very easy to fall into the trap of overtraining. But at the moment, I'm working more on my cardio health, so I do a very short kind of hit style session first thing, and then I will normally do some kind of resistance training session. And for my rest days, I tend to try to not do anything. Now, that is because I do quite intense workouts on all the other days. So I find that helps me have balance. So I will instead have active rest in the sense that perhaps I'm doing all of my housework and I'm having a lot of steps during the day, but I'm not doing any actual exercise movement. My NEAT is just in a great place, my non exercise active thermogenesis. That I find for me is quite restorative. I can't sit still. So I do have to do something, but I find that if it's just not scheduled exercise for me, that is enough to qualify as a rest day, because it's quite different in contrast to what I normally do. So I think it's such an individual thing, isn't it, as to what counts as rest. And I think as long as you find throughout the whole week, you kind of finish your week feeling not exhausted and not fatigued, like you have a good level of energy, I think that's a great way to indicate actually how well your workouts are working for you personally.
I think you mentioned a good point too about just not being sedentary, right? And including little things that can increase not only your calorie expenditure, but just the movement of the body, which I think is so important. Our society in general has slowed down, right? We've seen that progress over time from when we were hunter gatherers to what we have now. And everything is just made easy for us. So there's remote controls, there's drive-throughs, like everything is just simple. And you don't recognize, I think, how much you've slowed down probably since you were children. And so to me, I think that as we are aging, we are declining in lean muscle tissue and becoming more sedentary. We have to consciously think of ways to move the body. And you said you like to do things like your gardening or housework and chores and different things like that. I think that adding things like VILPA. So I heard this on Dr. Rhonda Patrick's podcast, vigorous intermittent lifestyle physical activity, which just basically means is the activities that you normally are doing day to day. So maybe going for a walk, maybe walking from the car to the grocery store, maybe going up the stairs, you are doing with vigor. Okay, so you're intensely moving through those actions. And it's surprising how many more calories you'll burn or how much you can increase your heart rate depending on what your targets are, but it keeps you moving more. A second thing that you can do also is exercise snacks. We had a little challenge in our membership recently about this too, where we just encouraged the women to stop intermittently throughout their day and add in these little exercise snacks. So it can be something as little as doing 2 flights of stairs, sprinting up and down. It can be stopping on the hour every hour and doing 10 to 25 squats or squat jumps, right? So there's lots of ways to include these little snacks that, again, can really help with our insulin and glycogen usage in the muscles. And it can also just wake us up. I remember speaking at a conference once, and it was a group of about 250, mostly men, who had stayed up late the night before, partying and playing poker. And then they had an 8 a.m. session with me. And one of the things that the directors wanted me to do was lead them on a little 5 minute workout, right? So everyone got up and stood behind their chairs. But before everyone stood up, it was like, lethargy and tired and yawns, and everyone was quiet and hungover, I'm assuming. And so I got them up to move, and the the air in the room just changed afterwards. It was just lively and excited, and people were laughing. And, it's that burst of oxygen and how much that can improve our mental state, improve our health rather, and of course, improve our heart health. So think of ways to move your body every single day. And I think you're going to benefit from that.
Yeah, I think incorporating it into tasks you're already doing. So one of the things I do is I have 3 children, as most people know. We have an awful lot of laundry to do. So our laundry machine is downstairs. Obviously, most of the clothes go upstairs. I will jog each one of those bits of clothes up individually. Now it takes about 10, 15 minutes, but I'm doing, I don't know, maybe 20 flights of stairs. But I have to do that job anyway. So incorporating the movement into something I got to do anyway is a great way to make it feel like I'm not really doing anything extra. So I think if you can build it into your day to day, it feels like less of a chore to incorporate that extra movement. So I think that's a great activity.
Yeah, great tip.
Wonderful. Okay, next question. So we're kind of building a little bit on from the one prior. So, Tracy, could you please reflect upon the fact that some women are trying to match your level of activity and how should they manage their own expectations around this?
I think we have to remember that we all had to start somewhere. Of course, I've been training for over 25, maybe 30 years now. Yeah, a long time. And so when I was first starting out, I started very minimally as well. And so I think that's important to remember. Now, of course, I'm running the YouTube channel. So I'm going to exercise at the level that I'm at because it's my daily workout as well. But we do offer, of course, those beginner workouts. So I always say to people, if you're first starting out, here's the thing. When you first start out and you pick up some weights, that day that you're starting, there's no doubt you're going to be able to do the workout, lift weights 12 times over your head. But your body is not used to that at all, right? You're used to lifting your suitcase into the overhead bin once, not 12 times. And when we do our training, typically we'll work in that 12 to 15 rep range, right? So while you can do it, I always say that you want to just, yes, start really light with really light weights. Maybe just a beginner workout where we do 1 or maybe 2 rounds of each exercise instead of the 3, 4, or 5 that we'll include in the advanced workouts. Because the goal is always to be able to show up again tomorrow. And if you're so sore that you can't, you haven't won. You've missed out, right? You've missed out on that continuity. You've missed out on volume, which is the driver of hypertrophy, if you can't show up the rest of the week. So do think about that. And sometimes it's good to have someone be the pace setter as well. They have that in different Olympic sports where someone goes ahead and sets the pace because sometimes we need that little bit of a push or challenge, don't we? Where we're looking at someone and we're trying to keep up or trying to follow along because maybe we wouldn't do that ourselves. And so sometimes I think it can be a good challenge, but you have to know your limits and play within it. It's a motto for gambling. Don't listen to that. But honestly, even with exercise, you have to know your limits and listen to your body, don't you? And sometimes the body will say, no, this hurts. I think that's a good thing to be mindful of. If something is moving toward pain, obviously stop that action, right? But there is a difference between challenging yourself beyond a threshold where your mind says, I can't do this or I'm not capable, and listening to your body when it says, ouch, this hurts. We should stop this action. We don't want to push through that, but we do want to push through the mind that tells us that we can't do something. So I think it's really important to know thyself and to begin to differentiate what that is and what's going on for you. And maybe a way that you can do that is to think, do I normally talk myself out instead of talk myself in? Is that a normal pattern of behavior for me where I give myself the easy out? And I think if that is something that you normally do, but you said to yourself, I really have this goal, I want to get fit and healthy, then maybe when those moments come up where you say in your brain, I can't, you actually flip that and say, you know what, I can, and I'm going to stay in the pocket, even though it's hard, even though it's uncomfortable. I mean, that's how we grow in relationships. That's how we grow mentally. That's how we grow in our businesses, in our work, is that we stay in the pocket when it's uncomfortable, right? We push through some of those things where we want to quit and we want to stop. But I think it's important to recognize that if you can stay in the pocket, you're going to step up the next ladder or rung of the ladder and move towards your goals a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's great for the women who follow you to think of you as an inspiration, not a comparison point. So, to be inspired by you and your longevity and being in it for the long haul and the healthy habits you clearly show to us and share with us, and use that as inspiration for improving their own health and having their own goals versus a comparison, because we cannot compare ourselves to anybody else, because that is just, it's a route to feeling awful about ourselves. We all know that comparison is the thief of joy. But I think if people try to frame it more as inspiration, like I'm inspired by Tracy to adopt these habits to work out X number of days a week, I think that's a lovely way to frame it, so much more positive than to feel like, oh, I'm not as good as, or I'm falling behind, etc. So maybe thinking of it inspirationally more than anything.
Yeah, that I like that a lot. And yes, if you're just starting out, or maybe you've even been in it for 2, 3 years, just think, okay, well, Tracy's done this almost every day of her life for the past 25 years. So come
Mm,
on.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, if I looked at someone that had done something that I aspired to, it's time that
Yeah.
allows us to improve in the skill. So just remember that, she's done this many times, the same exercises, the same routines over and over and over and over and over. Of course, she's going to be able to lift a little bit heavier. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like the inspiration over comparison. That's a good one.
Mm, wonderful. Okay. Next question. So, slightly different tack this time. So, why do your workouts feature so many compound moves? I keep hearing that to grow muscle, you should just do one muscle group at a time to ensure you're lifting the most weight possible for that muscle.
That is right. She is correct. Now, why do we have a lot of compound? Because lots of people have different goals. Lots of people have different targets, right? And I have a very broad audience. The channel isn't just for people who want to increase lean muscle tissue, but we also have a membership where we want to encourage people who want to reduce body fat percentage, right? I just did a coaching call this past week within the membership that compared split training for hypertrophy versus full body resistance training. And they wanted to look at which type was better for fat mass loss. And above board, it was the full body resistance training. So, full body often is looking at those compound exercises, multi muscle, multi joint. And the reason why that was more beneficial is multifaceted. You're getting your heart rate up because you're working more than one ligament, joint, muscle at a time. Right. So you're going to increase your heart rate. It's efficient, right? So whereas with split training and you're doing specific muscle groups, you might have to take more rest time in between. And so compound exercises are more efficient that way. I offer a lot of split training hypertrophy workouts on the channel as well. We do a lot of them within the Move Daily membership as our exclusive workouts because for some reason they're just not as popular on YouTube as the full body compound. So I don't know why that is exactly, except for sometimes people are looking for workouts that are more fun, more lively, more variety, right? Because they get bored easily. And so those compound exercises would give us that. However, if you want to increase in strength and you really want to maximize hypertrophy, which is the increase in muscle size, the split training is where it's at, right? It allows you to get that volume throughout a given week on a specific muscle. The compound exercises, you're going to do well maybe to maintain muscle, right? You're going to definitely increase the heart rate and maximize your caloric expenditure, but it may not be the best way to increase lean muscle. So for the person asking, why do I do so many compound? I mean, that's why, but there are a lot of straight strength. And we have a playlist on the YouTube channel that is called Strength Workouts. So you can look there. I'll often do those by rep range, which again, on a YouTube channel, they don't perform as well because they're more challenging to follow along to. But I want that for my body as well. So I'm doing those types of workouts in combination with the full body compound workouts.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think that's one of the, you kind of touched on it, but actually one of the massive advantages of being part of the membership is not only the three workout streams to choose from, but this kind of question is where we'd begin to talk about the person's goals. You know, what are you trying to achieve? What will fit best with you? We offer that slightly more customized approach around what we offer as standard. And I think that's where, if you are unsure about what kind of workouts to do, the membership is a great option because we can give you that more individualized coaching and encouragement and direction, which is terrific. So wonderful. Thank you. Okay, on to the next question. So, I'm very curious as to the importance of the length of the workout. I sometimes look at the titles and see the minutes and feel overwhelmed. Are there any thoughts on this?
Yes. Well, volume is the driver of hypertrophy. So if that is true, which means for each specific muscle group, again, you want to aim between that 10 and 15 sets per week. If you're only doing a 20-minute workout, it is very not likely that you are going to be able to get that 10 to 15 sets per muscle group per week. In a 45 to 50-minute workout, you very likely are going to be able to do that. So that is the main reason for me. Again, I'm doing my own workouts. This is the only place I work out. I don't go to a gym afterwards. So whatever I'm filming, that's the workout that I need for my body to reach the targets that I have, which are to increase lean muscle tissue, right? And improve my heart health. So that's what I'm doing, and that's how I film these workouts. But yeah, so you definitely need to have longer time period in order to get the volume, in order to have that progressive overload, which will give you the adaptations and muscle growth. And hey, having a short workout now and again is great too. Sometimes we just don't have time, right? And if you're doing shorter workouts and moving daily, is that better than doing nothing? Absolutely. So there are seasons in life, right? Kim, you know this. Sometimes we're just so busy. We have other commitments. Maybe we have an ailing parent, and all we can fit in certain days or seasons are these shorter workouts. And those are going to be so beneficial over doing nothing. So please don't think that just because it's a shorter workout, you're not getting benefit. You absolutely are. And so we want to encourage people to always do something daily, right? That's our motto. If nothing else, move daily. And if it's going to be a short one, then it is. And you are winning if you're moving.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's nothing wrong with the idea. If you do look at it, you do feel overwhelmed or intimidated, do half of the workout or start and then see how you feel. I always think
Yeah.
Sometimes if my energy's low or I'm not quite with it, I'll make a deal with myself and say, right, I'm going to do 10 minutes. And then if after 10 minutes I'm still not feeling it, it's okay. I'm going to stop. No one can see me. No one knows what I'm doing. But quite often I'll get 10 minutes and I'll be like, okay, this is okay. I'm going to do another 10 minutes. Before I know it, I finished the workout. So sometimes just remembering that no one is judging you, no one can see what you're doing, no one's going to say if you stop halfway through, if that's all you feel like doing. So, as you say, just do something because it is 100% better than nothing. And being in it for the long haul is all about that. It's about doing what you can and not doing nothing because it's that approach of, well, it's just too much. Well, then just do half or do a quarter or go for a walk for 10 minutes instead. If that's all you feel like you want to do, that's more than enough.
Yeah, and I was just thinking too, there's so many mornings. There are so many mornings I do not feel like working out. I come
Mm-hmm.
down here and I pace and I battle with myself. So if you're someone that does that, believe me, I am right in the trenches with you with that. And I'm like, I don't want to do this today. That's what I literally say that to myself. And then I have to think, okay, switch the brain and then, begin to tell yourself that you can. But it's hard. It's a challenge. So if you're feeling like you don't feel like it a lot, I'm with you too. And oftentimes we just have to do the things that we don't feel like doing, and we rely on the structure that we have set up for ourselves and the things that we said we wanted for ourselves, right? So we do those things in order to get the end result. And there's no doubt in my mind that after a workout that you've challenged and pushed yourself through, you're going to get all of those good endorphins, right? That adrenaline, and you're going to feel amazing. And if only we could bottle that up as a little pill we could take beforehand to remind ourselves how good we'd feel, that would be a winner. But yeah, anyway, we've got to parent ourselves, as Mel Robbins says, and sometimes parent ourselves to do the hard things we don't want to do.
Absolutely. But even I did it a long time ago now, but when I was going through a particularly difficult time, it's going to sound silly. I did a short video of myself post a workout and I recorded how I felt in the moment. I was just like,
Love it.
I feel amazing. This is so good. And I literally was talking to myself, going, I know there's going to be times where you don't want to do this in the next couple of weeks. I just had a lot going on, but remember how it feels right now. And then I actually watched it a couple of times when I was really unmotivated. And I was like, right, I'm going to try and hold on to that and do it anyway. So sometimes just noting down how you feel
Yeah.
in that moment of post workout and then just being able to look back at it or take a photo. If you're full on sweaty mess, looking brilliant, feeling amazing, the grin on your face, and then use that just to remind yourself of how it's going to feel when you're done. And sometimes it can help get over that mental hump, as you say.
Yes. Awesome.
Fantastic. Okay, next question. So, when life is busy that I get interrupted during a workout halfway through, or have to take an important phone call, for example, I continue on afterwards, but it messes up my flow. My question is, would it be okay to split up the workouts as long as you're completing them? So, for example, if I do half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening, is there any drawback to doing this as opposed to doing it all at once?
Well, first off, let's just say that any movement you do, again, you're winning. So if that's what happens in the day, then who cares? Good for you that you actually rallied to do it in the evening as well. I think that's amazing. Now, in terms of your targets, maybe towards muscle growth, there might be a slight disadvantage to breaking up a workout like that, right? Because when we're working out, when we're training, what we want to do is we're pushing those muscles toward maximal failure, right? We're looking to get that volume over time. And we're only going to really feel that muscular fatigue if we stay in the pocket with the full session, right? We're only going to be able to challenge the muscles if we are consistent through the whole training session. If we stop and then break it up, the muscles are recovered and then we're sort of doing it again. So in that regard, I think it's the most beneficial to keep your strength training together if you can. Now, could you split up strength and cardio? Sure, absolutely. You could do that. Here's the one caveat that I would caution about that. We start with very high cortisol in the morning. When you wake up, your cortisol is the highest it's going to be throughout the day, and then it slowly starts to come down throughout the day. And that's beneficial because if you want to sleep in the evening, we don't want spiked cortisol. But if you start training in the evening and maybe you're doing like a high intensity HIIT workout or maybe you're doing a really heavy strength session, after dinner, that's going to increase that cortisol again in the body, which might hinder your melatonin production and your ability to get a really good, restful, deep sleep. So that's the only caution. I would say then maybe do something that's more intense in the morning, save the more intense stuff for the morning time and the more restorative or lighter workouts for the evening if you were going to split it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think there's something to be said for taking 15 minutes and sitting down and thinking about how your life is now and what happens in your week. Are there any patterns you can adapt to? And maybe it's, for example, doing a strength workout on a weekend because actually the phone is way less likely to ring on a Saturday. And perhaps therefore you do maybe shorter, more focused workouts, or you do your cardio sessions in the week where actually if you get interrupted, it's less impactful to the results and goals. Because so often we get into patterns, don't we? And we just maintain the pattern. But sometimes just going, what if I threw it all up in the air and started again? How could I plan my week more effectively? That can be a really useful way to minimize the impact of those disruptions.
Yeah,
So, Tracy, do we have time for one more question before we finish
you
off?
bet. Sure.
Fantastic. So, this is a really interesting one. This question is about body weight versus weighted exercise, and can the two match for effectiveness? For example, would 24 body weight only squats be the equivalent of 12, but holding two 18-pound dumbbells, for example? Or would it be more like 48 reps to accomplish the same build?
Yeah, again, we sort of go back to that mindset that if you're doing body weight, that's better than doing nothing, right? So, always thinking about what the top target is important. If you want to build muscle, the goal is to have that progressive overload on the muscles. So, I did a coaching call on this not too long ago within the membership, and I looked at a study. I'm just going to refer to my notes here from PubMed called The Effects of Free Weight and Body Mass Based Resistance Training on Thigh Muscle Size, Strength, and Intramuscular Fat in Healthy Young and Middle Aged Individuals. So they were basically looking at whether body weight exercises versus dumbbell exercises would give gains for increase in lean muscle tissue. And really, there are certain exercises that can increase this mechanical tension because that's what's important for building muscle. So think of exercises that are body weight, like push-ups, uh, dips, pull-ups, chin-ups, Bulgarian split squats, step-ups, where you're lifting your own body weight, right? So those are hard exercises. I'll often warm up with even the Bulgarian split squat with no weights because it's a challenge, right? It's a challenging exercise where I'm pushing all of my body weight on one leg predominantly. So definitely certain exercises that can increase that muscle tension. And that basically is when your muscle contracts and the actin and myosin filaments slide past each other, causing the muscle to shorten and then, of course, to generate tension, right? Mechanical tension, though, is the key factor in hypertrophy. So if you don't have that, when you're doing body weight exercises, you're not going to have the same adaptation. But this study again looked at this done. So basically, the study was done in minimally trained men, and it showed that push-ups were able to induce just as much hypertrophy as when they performed 40% of one max rep chest press. So the study lasted 8 weeks. Each group performed either push-ups or chest press for 3 sets, 2 times a week for 8 weeks. Okay. And each set was taken to failure. So that's important too, right? So if you're doing body weight exercises and you can take them close to maximal failure or to failure, that's going to give you that adaptation. But think about it, that's going to take a lot longer than it would be if you're holding heavy weights, right? So how many push-ups could you do without a weight on your back, right? So if we want to make a push-up harder, we can put a weighted plate or have someone hold a weighted plate or put a band around our back or increase the depth that way. Or think of Bulgarian split squats or step ups, right? I could do a million weighted or weight-free body weight step ups. Like I could do hundreds probably, but as soon as I hold 20-pound dumbbells, now it's going to, shorten the amount of reps that I do. But anyway, so yeah, that study was really interesting. Half of them were put in the body weight group, half were put in the free weight group. And the results, basically, the researchers measured hypertrophy using the MRI at the beginning of the 8 weeks and at the end. And muscle hypertrophy rather occurred in both, and the rate was higher in the free weight than in body mass based 3.6% compared to 6.3% increase in quadricep muscle hypertrophy. So you definitely can, but the caveat is that you need to push the system and bring it toward that maximal failure if you're using body weight. So yeah, it's just going to take you longer.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's amazing to hear the evidence behind that as well. It's really interesting. What about if you did very slow reps? I know, for example, if I try and do a push up and I try and really slow that tempo down, it feels way harder. Do you think that would be more effective than perhaps doing? So, say, for example, you didn't have a lot of time, would doing maybe 15 reps of very slow push ups versus if you didn't have time to do, say, 40 reps of standard speed, would that perhaps be a way to switch up a bit?
As long as you get toward that maximal failure, and you would, Charles Poliquin, he was the strength king, basically. He's passed away now, but one of his concepts was that the eccentric phase or the down phase is the way to get stronger. And so it's moving really slowly on that down phase, of course. And just as Kim was saying, it's challenging, right? You're firing up all of those muscle fibers within the muscle. I often get the shakes when I work that eccentric phase where the muscle is just vibrating. And I can't do as many when I go slowly as I can when I go nice and quick. So it might take you a little bit longer as well, but it's such a great concept and strategy to implement because it does hold tension within the muscle for a longer period of time. You're not getting to that rest period at the bottom of the push-up or the rest at the top. You're slow, 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 keeping tension on the muscle, recruiting lots of muscle fibers, thereby fatiguing the muscle faster. So yeah, great tip and a good strategy to do as well if you only have body weight exercises to help you build.
Yeah, fantastic. And it just gets the variety in there, doesn't it? And that's so
Yeah.
important, as we know, to keep challenging your body in different ways. That variety
Well,
can
and
really help for your overall health.
yeah, this is why a lot of women even are enjoying Stratton's training because
Hmm.
he really focuses on the eccentric phase more than I do. He likes the slow and steady, and reports are that women are like, I'm so sore after his workouts, and it might be a shorter workout, like 30 or 35 minutes, but because that you're going nice and slow in your reps, it keeps more tension for longer on the muscle, which can help the fibers tear and then rebuild and repair and grow. So, yeah, it's a great strategy. Definitely incorporate that.
Absolutely. And of course, he's just released his first program, which is amazing, a
Yes,
full month of strength training with Stratton. So it's fabulous. So anybody wants to check that out. We've had some great feedback already, haven't we, from women who tried it? Really, really interesting.
for sure. And we can link that in the show notes below. So, check that out.
Wonderful.
Well, that about does it today, everyone. Kim, thanks for joining me today. That
Pleasure,
was
always.
fabulous. Yes, awesome. For the rest of you, thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out the show notes for all of the links to things that we mentioned today. As always, go move daily in your fitness, wellness, and nutrition. And we'll see you all in the next Move Daily Talks.